All right, we ended up putting 3 cross members on the sills to get the sills perfectly parallel with each other. Now what we're doing is we are putting the rear panel on. That has the tail lights and whatever in it. We've got it just setting up against there. It's in place and clamped. I need to weld that down. And then what we'll do is we'll put the rub rails on the outside. What I use is 3x4 box tube setting on the outsides. That helps keep everything, it strengthens the whole body. You've got the main sills that carry the weight, but then you need something on the outsides to support the walls and to support the body from, you know, going in the shape of a banana from the weight being in it. So we'll get that welded down, get the rub rails on there, and once they're on, we can start dropping the cross members in. Once we get the cross members all in, then we can bring the sheet metal over. We'll have to cut the sheet metal to size. I've got 4-foot by 8-foot pieces, and I don't know if those are 5x10 or 5x8. 8 foot, they're usually a little more than 8 foot, and what we are is 8 foot inside the rub rail. So we'll have to cut just a little bit off because they oversize it just a touch. So let's go ahead and get this taillight panel welded in. Well, we've got about half of the cross members in. And then once we get all of these cross members in there, then we can go down through the sides and weld the tubes to the rub rail on the outer sides. So they've got the spreader in here. We ended up putting a floor in this a while ago. A floor in the discharge chute. And I noticed the door was slightly wore out. It's got a piece missing here. And it was functional, but we just figured we better get a new one on there. So that's what they're doing right now, is they're swapping out this door. After I put the floor in the discharge chute, we ended up replacing that outer panel, and that made quite a difference with how far the manure got thrown. When we swapped that panel over, you noticed a big difference, didn't you, with the box stall manure? Spread it a lot farther. So these guys are still organizing here. They're actually finishing up this job here. And then I think I'm going to throw them into the oil filter organization. I'm going to find out what we've got, what we need, and the rest. Get rid of them. You got to be able to do that. Figure out what equipment, what filter goes to what. Got to look that stuff up online. So, we've got some frozen manure here. I've replaced the door on the 8124, but I haven't replaced the door on this one yet. So
yeah, we just gotta get this arm out of the way.
And then it'll pull out and kind of fall out this way. Yeah, it doesn't help that things are, well, froze. We've got hard manure on here. And that cylinder there, we've got to figure out what we're going to do with that. I might even have a packing kit for that. It looks like 1.5 inches.
That other one is kind of leaking to a little.
Or is that a 2-inch cylinder? That's a 2-inch. That's 1.5 inches. I probably don't have a packing kit for a 2-inch, but we'll get one. So, yeah. All right.
Did you still want to do an oil change on this one?
No, hold off on that.
Okay, but just grease spreader.
Yeah, get the spreader greased, and then we can get that John Deere truck in. So after they pull this out, they're going to pull the John Deere truck in, and we're going to take a peek at that, see what's going on. It's got a clutch issue. I'm not sure what's wrong, but it's not anything that we're going to fix right now, but we just want to see what's going on with it, and then go from there. Well, this job has turned into quite the fiasco. We'll have to heat it on the outside now. This series spreader is a little different than the one that was earlier than that. The earlier model, the hinge for the door kind of went this way, and the cylinder was down in the oil bath. And you didn't have to, I don't remember having to take the arm off. We have to take this arm off of here to get this door out. And this is a dead end pin right here. In other words, there's no way to get at it to the other side. No way to get at the other side unless you put a hole or cut a hole in there. You want to take the camera, Jay? Yep. Jay will show you the hole that he cut in the side of the spreader here, and now he's got the back side of that pin there, and that is allowing us to heat the pin up from this side to be able to pound it out, and to heat it up from the outside here. So all it had was a little teardrop tab on there to hold the pin in. We ripped that off and welded a 1-inch nut on there so that we could turn it. And it has moved some, but not much. But now we're going to be able to get it, because we're going to be able to get at both sides here and get on it with a pin and or a punch and a hammer and everything else here. What's that?
We got like a washer welded on the outside, so when the pig comes through.
Oh. It's not just a thick plate in there?
No, that's like a washer.
Yeah, wow. Well, I thought there'd be there's not a heavy plate welded on the inside of that form channel. There's got to be a heavy plate here. There's nothing. I won't know until I look at the camera here. Yeah. So, all right, we're just gonna keep on keeping on here, and we'll touch base with you once we get this out of there. So I came off the welding to help with this project. This was supposed to be a quick in the door and back out again. Yeah. So, oh well. All right, we've got that pin out far enough to have been able to remove the arm. The pin must be mushroomed over on the end, and it will not come through this plate here. So we're gonna have to pound that back in a little bit, reach in here with a torch, cut it off, then pound it out. And I've got a 1-inch reamer. We'll ream this hole, put everything back together with anti-sneezer, and the next time somebody does this job, because we won't own this spreader when it needs to have a second door put in it, it'll come apart nice and easy. So we should have traded this spreader, not the other one. You know, should have traded it before I put the floor in it. But let's heat that up again, pound it in, cut it off, get that all.
I think now though, Andy, if we heat just from the inside, we can go right up and around. I think that's gonna come right out now.
All right, we'll try that.
Gotta get it out first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think so, happened anyway. There you go. You do.
You need to clean it also. Got that right in the gut.
You did that on purpose, I swear.
I thought I was going to lose my hand.
All right.
There you go,
We'll have to let this cool down. And we'll have to ream it.
Get it so it's nice.
Maybe we put a bolt in, just so we can turn it from, somebody can turn it from the other side. And yeah, so.
What are you thinking? A bolt with a nut on my end?
Yeah.
Put it on so far, keep it loose, so
Pack, well, got lock nuts.
if you got a lock nut, shit, that will work.
Yeah.
Or not, keep it loose.
Lock it out there and
it'll operate the same way.
All right, so what's this gonna take to get this out?
That's
All right, so we've got this all together here now. We ended up using the same tab that holds that pin in. Jason has the hole welded in the spreader. Then we anti-seized everything here. And Alex is just running this door up and down now. It fit kind of tight right in on the back side. There's a lip at the top that we had to grind the bevel down. We had to make a bevel on it so we could get that door past it, and it fit real tight. So we'll show you what the inside looks like here. If I can get up on here. There we go. This is what the inside looks like. Got it all welded back in, and then if we have to do this again, we'll know where to cut the hole in. We were gonna put a bolt in there, but wouldn't have done us any good because the nut would have been on the inside. At least we can maybe get this pin out again, or the next guy can get it out. So we might as well pull this out the door. I'll move these torches and we'll get that door up and you can pull out. So back to welding. Actually, no. All that's got to be greased yet. Well, they're greasing that spreader up and they're going to be able to pull that out. And while we were working on that, Jared, Nate, and Garrett are tackling this job. Everybody was kind of wondering what was going on with this John Deere truck. And the clutch let go on it here. That must have been about a month ago, 6 weeks ago maybe? No, it was about a month ago maybe. And we parked it, started using the other truck. So what do you got exactly wrong, Jared? Throwout bearing? Yeah. So they're draining stuff and getting things ready to pull apart here. We'll have to put a new clutch in it. And Yeah, that's the story behind the John Deere truck. It's a little better moving feet of that other one anyways, you know. The heat actually stays in the cab, not that the heat even works in this one. But this is a good summer truck. Some of it's here and some of it's there. Look at the holes we got in there. We're gonna have to tack on some scrap metal. Got to get a little more time out of this yet, especially if we're putting a clutch in it. We can't, you know. We'll have to make, maybe what we could do is just take some 3/8 plywood and fasten it right to the sides. But yeah, she's a little holy. Oh, they got the suction hose here. And yeah, this side doesn't look too bad, but a lot of this stuff is kind of covering up the holes.
Wait on Tim. Oh.
Well, now we are ready to throw some sheet metal on. We've got cross members welded down to the sill, and then we have the cross members welded to the rub rail on each side. And then now we need to cut the sheet metal so that the sheet metal is going to fit in between the rub rails here. So we'll start in the back and we'll work our way forward. We have the sheet steel on the floor here. And we'll run over next door here. Jared has the transmission out of the John Deere truck. Looks like they were impatient to wait for the transmission jack. I'm sorry, not the transmission jack, but the clutch jack. They've got the transmission set in there, and they just pulled the clutch out of it here now. And this transmission's not that old, but it was the throwout bearing itself, I think, that took a crap. So we have...
Stuff's still warm.
Yeah.
Took it out too fast.
I think so.
Supposed to let this stuff cool down.
What's that?
Supposed to let this stuff cool down before you take it out.
What exactly is wrong?
Strawberries there.
Okay. There we go. Right there.
Looks like it was just never greased.
Yeah. A lot of neglect.
Yeah.
But that happens. So the transmission is not worth sending it out to have it gone through. Usually when we yank one of these out for a clutch, we end up having the transmission gone through. But we'll run into Syracuse in the morning, grab a clutch for this old girl. Actually got to get the flywheel turned too. I wonder if somebody shouldn't take that flywheel out now and get it turned now so that it's ready for morning. So then this could be back in. We could start on the next culprit. We got Garrett's truck that we're working on. Then now we got to work on Nate's. Jared already worked on a couple of his already.
Well, we're going to be spreading manure tomorrow. So
you ain't got to worry about the clutch then. One of the
probably
girls.
have another truck to work on after tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. So Well, alrighty, I'm going back to welding. Well, we have all of the sheet metal on the flatbed part. Now what we're going to do is we're going to roll it over. We set the sheet metal in place after we got all the cross members in, and then I tack welded the pieces together, and then I went underneath on a creeper and I tacked the sheet metal to every cross member. You can kind of see a little tack here and there. We did 2 per side, per each side of the sill, and 1 down through the center. And that'll keep the sheet metal planted. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this over so that we can weld the stitches on the sheet metal to the cross member upside down, so we're not laying underneath it. The first couple of these that I've done, I've had them on 55-gallon drums, and you're going down through on your hands and knees trying to weld everything overhead, and that isn't any fun. So once we roll it over and get the welding done, then we can prep it, and we'll paint the underneath before we flip it back over. And then once we get it flipped back over and it's painted, then we can put the posts and the sheet metal up on the sides. Now, some of you have wondered where this iron comes from. Well, it doesn't come from China. Made in the good old USA. This tube was made on November 30th, 21 at 4:47 in the afternoon. So this tube is only a couple of months old. The long sills underneath, I didn't video that. Those were made in Canada. So we put that label up towards the top so nobody can see it. We don't want anybody to know we've got any Canadian steel here. Just giving the old Canadians a little gripe here. But we'll show you how we do this process with rolling it over. It's a little sketchy, but it works. So let's go ahead and tip this guy over. Well, that's what this looks like upside down. We have pneumatic locks that we're going to put on here. So I've got the hole already made in the sill, and then I put a couple of pillow block bearings on there, and those holes are already drilled. So that's all set there. Like I said, we need to do all the welding here. We need to come around the ends of the cross members. We'll weld those completely. All we have is a stitch down each side, and then you could see my little tacks against the back of the cross member here. So we'll go ahead and get this welded together, and then we can prep this for paint and get this painted and roll it back over. I've got this ramped here to meet this junior channel. We're 10 inches tall there with a 3-inch cross member. So that makes that 13 inches coming into a 12-inch tail light panel here, and that matches that neatly there. So now we just got to get to our welding. Well, we have just a little bit more welding to do. Sarah's got just a couple more gussets on this one side left to finish up on that end there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to prep this so that I can paint it. I'll end up painting it in the morning. We'll wash it here tonight. We'll let it dry overnight, and then I'll be able to paint it black here first thing in the morning. So that is just about gonna do it for this video here. When you guys see the next phase of this project, we'll have it flipped back over, and we'll be putting the posts up, the top rail, and the sheets for the side. So it is all downhill from here, right, Sarah? Yeah. You had enough welding today? No? No? Probably should do all the underneath parts first. So we should roll this out, put this on a flatbed, roll the next one in, and start building the floor on that one, right? You like kneeling down on this stuff, doing that kind of welding.
Yeah, it feels great.
Yeah, it'll be better once you start doing the sides. That's all standing up welding. So that's gonna do it,
Folks.
and we'll catch you at the next one. It's kind of a tedious job getting the flatbed parts started and done and whatever like that, but we got it, right? Well, how much you got left? 2 more? Oh, you do have a couple on the other side? Or no? Yeah. Yeah. Well, alrighty, folks. We'll catch you at the next one. Take her easy.